Welcome to the story of how I qualified for the GeoGuessr World Cup, an in-person showdown between 24 of the world's greatest GeoGuessr players hosted live in Stockholm, Sweden next month. My qualification was nothing short of a miracle as I navigated through some of the toughest matches of my career. Let's go back to where it all started. When the World Cup was announced, I had no expectation of being invited. 20 of the 24 players were all but decided upon already, and there were only 4 open slots for the victors of a grueling 2-day qualifier process. I went ahead and booked plane tickets and a hotel, entirely expecting that I'd just be in the audience come October. In July, my friend Rainbolt asked me if I wanted to play in the first day of the qualifiers, also known as the PreQuali. He would be hosting the event himself in August, and GeoGuessr put him in charge of recruiting players. I, of course, had to accept. There were 16 of us invited, split into 4 groups of 4, and 1 person from each would make it to the main qualifier. First up, I had to face Brad Hamilton in a best-of-3 match, 1 game each of no moving, NMPZ, and then a tiebreaker of moving if needed. Things got off to a rough start when I missed the most obvious San Marino round ever. I just went for Italy, so I already lost a big chunk of points. Things were pretty close between Brad and I going through the other few rounds until we made it to this one in Latin America, where I completely messed up. As Rainbolt shows you here, we are in the Dominican Republic. We have the car visible, of course, the Gen 3 car meta in DR. However, I didn't pan down to see the bars on the car. I could only see the white parts, so I had that, and I knew it was Latin America, of course. I was just panicking. I could not think what was happening here. Absolutely fatal error to not check the bottom of the car. You always gotta do it every single round. Missing that was a huge disaster. I ended up going for Chile, I think. I wasn't happy with that guess at the time, but I just had no clue what else to do. And of course, as you can see here, that had disastrous consequences and made me lose my first game, and I was so mad at myself. After that, I went into Rainbow's chat and I was just like, let Brad move on. I felt like that was such an unforgivable mistake that I'd made. To be doing that at this stage, like invited to the qualifiers. My confidence was absolutely shattered after that, but as you can see, the chat was really encouraging, cheering me on, so I felt obligated to keep on moving, even though I was absolutely defeated. That is a decision that I will forever be glad that I made. Hopping into our second game, which was NMPZ, I felt a lot more confident. We started things off with this nice Ukrainian round that I was able to get a really good guess on. Brad was in the Baltics, so that was reinvigorating my confidence here as we got into our NMPZ game. NMPZ went pretty smoothly. We had pretty similar guesses just across a bunch of random countries. Norway, Brazil, Poland, I think that one was, yep. After a few rounds, I had chipped away at Brad's health to about 4,000. Had a nice guess here in Argentina, which got me a good chunk of points. And then I think the next round was also Argentina, but I think we had similar guesses here. But yeah, he was still in it. And then this is the guess that decided it. This was Malaysia, where I went for the Borneo side of Malaysia, and Brad was on the peninsula, as you can see, and that ended up being just enough points for me to knock him out in NMPZ. With that, it was 1-1, and we went on to the tie-breaking round of a moving duel. Just like the other 2 games, this one was very close throughout the first few. We both were not really pinpointing, we were just moving around a little bit, and then just decided to plonk when we couldn't figure it out. Until we made it to this Australia round here, which is where I was able to pull off something really nice. I went the opposite way that Rainbolt's moving right here on the stream. I was going to the west. I was able to find the sign pointing out the name of this town in Australia, and we had yellow signposts, which is a Western Australia thing, so I had the town, I had the state, so all I had to do was scan for it. I think Brad missed the yellow signposts or something entirely because he did not end up going for Western Australia, and I was able to pinpoint just about in this town. I couldn't believe it when I saw that Brad wasn't in Western Australia, and I realized that I had won against Brad coming back from my first round defeat in DR. I was so happy with this, and moving on to the final round of our group stage, which I had to face Harrier in. The winner of our best of 3 would take one of the spots in the final qualifier 1 week later. The no moving game between Harrier and myself took quite a while. We lasted a lot of rounds, made it up to like 5x multiplier I think at least, but I was just slowly chipping away at Harrier's health up until then. We did have a few trickier rounds. This one was Mexico, where I was able to get a nice guess in Baja California, and Harrier was not in that part of Mexico, so I got a lot of points from this one. Similar kind of thing here in Sweden, where Harrier went for Western Finland, but I was in Sweden, so got a decent chunk of points on this one as well. Eventually, we made it to the 5.5x multiplier round, and we ended up in Ukraine. For most of the time, I just had my marker in Kiev as a hedge. I wasn't really sure what I was looking at, but the whole time in the back of my head, I was thinking that it kind of felt like Western Russia to me. I was a little worried it would be one of the border cities. I couldn't tell 100% for sure if it was going to be Ukraine. I was 99% there, but I felt like maybe I needed to hedge for Western Russia, and I moved over to Poltava. I made the switch with 2 seconds left on the timer, and that ended up being the right city by a pure stroke of luck, and after a grueling 12-round game against against Harrier, I ended up taking the win. Everybody in chat thought I was just crazy Ukraine, but it was a complete hedge. With 1 win under my belt, I had the leg up going into the NPZ game, and I was really feeling confident. Things started out really nicely with this Montenegro round, where I think Harrier ended up in the Caucasus part of Russia, but I did go for, I think, the Montenegro-Albania border. I wasn't sure which one it was going to be, but it was Monty, and that was a really nice clean start for me. NPZ game brought us this round, which I'm sure gets memed and laughed at to this day, where Harrier and I both kind of messed up terribly. We had these really big mountains, fall foliage, which in hindsight does look very, very Chilean. However, what I was thinking was that this was going to be New Zealand. Harrier ended up going for Kyrgyzstan, but both of us were looking at Chile. We talked about it after the game. We were both looking at Chile on the map like, are we going to switch to this? But in the end, we committed to New Zealand and Kyrgyzstan, which was just a complete disaster. As you see on the screen, it was awful. I got 56 points on Harrier from it, because New Zealand's a tiny bit closer, but that was pretty ridiculous. Chat was just laughing their asses off at us. Next round after that, Harrier missed the text on the building, which said Tartu. That's a big city in Estonia, so I was able to get some more points here. Finally, after holding out for a while, we made it to this tropical, sandy-looking town where, as you can see underneath Rainbolt's chat, there's some sort of road sign where I could see that there was Portuguese language. So that made me think immediately this was going to be Brazil. With the sandy soil and everything, I was thinking it would be North Coast. I was really trusting that that sign was Portuguese. As you can see, Harrier went for, I think, Puerto Rico or something there, but I was in northern Brazil, and that was correct. I was really proud of that guess, and Harrier put up a great fight, but I was so proud of myself. Along with Alok, Truly Buzzy, and Tilko Olympia, I had claimed a spot in the main qualifier, where we would join 12 people already invited by GeoGuessr to participate. This event was a huge production, a bit of a test run of sorts for the actual World Cup, and it was an incredibly cool experience just to see the behind the scenes of it all. The 16 of us were once again split into 4 groups, this time organized by countries, so I was joined by 2 other Americans, Party and Polly, as well as Truly Buzzy of New Zealand. With an intense 3-stage format to get to the top, my expectations were once again at 0 to even make it out of the group stage. Given all the different games being played, GeoGuessr could only broadcast a few of them, so not all of my gameplay is on camera. I'll walk you through the summary pages of the duels and try to explain my best how everything went down for games that weren't recorded. These games were played in a little bit of a different order from Rainbolt's pre-qualifier, so we started out with the moving games, and NMPZ was saved as the tie-breaking game for the best of 3 and the best of 5. My first match in the group stage was against Truly Buzzy, where we started out things with an India location where we both didn't really know what was going on. I felt like it felt west, though, so I just kind of clicked on the west coast after moving around a tiny bit, didn't find anything, and it ended up not being the worst guess ever. Things went pretty well from there on. We had a Iceland round that I was able to 5k, that was pretty nice in Reykjavik there. Overall, I was just doing pretty decently with my guesses, and then we made it down to round 9 where we had Japan. In this round, I think Buzzy must have gone a different way than me because I saw signs pretty quickly for Shibata and then more importantly Niigata, which I was able to find on the map here. I'm sure Buzzy missed those signs. He got that it was north, but yeah, just not quite enough. And after chipping away into the Maltese at 3.5x, that was enough for the first win in this game. This moving game definitely brought my confidence up. I was really happy with Japan and a lot of my region guessing here. And on to the next no moving game. For this one, Buzzy started out with a really nice Norway guess. He was almost in the right town there, so that was really nice from him. Once we got into the multipliers, I was able to start putting some pressure on, getting closer guesses and just chipping away at his points, and then we made it down to this Uruguay round. I'm gonna open this one up so you guys can see what was going on here. For me, this felt like very close to Uruguay foliage, this like sandy road, and then also the camera quality, like it's a little bit smudged looking. You can see it feels a little bit foggy. That kind of coverage is the thing in Uruguay, but I think, again, Buzzy must have just panicked or overthought it. He went for Argentina, and that was enough for me to get the win. With that, I went 2-0 against Buzzy in the first match. I was really happy, but definitely feeling nervous at this point. Party would be my next opponent, and they decided to broadcast this one on the Twitch stream, so I'll go over to there and show you guys that. Here's my match versus Party. As you can see, the setup and everything for this event was really cool. If you guys didn't watch it live, it was so fun to see, but we had the graphics and everything. This was my first match, the moving game. We started things out with this Russia round where we were able to move to the signs to see that Surgut was nearby, so we both kind of just plonked it around there. Didn't get the 5Ks or anything, but a good start for both of us. Party is a really fast player, especially on these moving rounds. He decided to pretty much more or less just guess immediately instead of moving around at all, so he was putting the pressure on a lot. By doing that, he was able to slowly but surely chip away at my points, going through Senegal, New Zealand, Indonesia here, where he knew more than me. A country that I definitely struggle on a lot, and he found the city name or something that I just didn't see or didn't recognize, so he ended up getting pretty much the 5 5k there, getting another good chunk of points off of from me. We got this Australia round, another country that I'm not good at, and he ended up having a really good guess in Queensland there. I was almost down and out from that one. However, the next round was this Germany, where I was able to move to this highway sign pointing at Landsberg, a city that I've actually been to in Germany, one of the rare places in Germany that I know and that I've been to, so I was able to pretty much nail it with that. It was extremely lucky to get that, and I thought maybe I have a fighting chance knocking off half his health there. Up until that point, though, I was pretty much just getting flawless to my party, so on to the Jordan round here, where I went for just Amman. Of course, party knew the coverage to go for Wadi Musa, which was correct, and that sealed the deal. I was done, and party was up 1-0. The next game here, we started out with rural Colorado, where again, party was just putting the pressure on. He was guessing first in just about every single round. Had a great guess there in Colorado, as you can see. Really clean stuff there from him to start, and I was definitely feeling nervous. For round number 2, we both saw a sign here for Montanha in Espírito Santo, Brazil. Another good round for both of us, where we both got the city. I got 2 points on him there, but yeah, we just kept on moving through these rounds, trading points a bit. I got a decent chunk of damage on him here in Malaysia, where I went for the Borneo side, and party was on the peninsula, so that was pretty nice to see there. So I was starting to get a little bit of a leg up on this one. More of the same here, similar guesses. We both kind of messed up on this Russia round, I think. Yeah, we were way too far west, but then we made it to another Russia round right after that, where I was able to pull off a pretty nice guess. For me, immediately after panning around, checking on the town, the coverage, the road angle and everything, the mountains felt like we were going to be out by Novosibirsk, Rabakan, that kind of area. As you can see on party's screen on the right side, though, he was in the Ural Mountains, which was unfortunately not going to be the right area. I was really happy with this guess here. Party went for the Urals, though, and that ended up costing him this game. So we were 1-1 at this point, heading into our tie-breaking game of NMPZ. Once again, party put on the pressure. He was guessing really fast. We started out with, I believe this was Inuvik, but I thought it was Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. Party was in Canada, but he was not in the right city, so we both were kind of far away there. He got a bit of points on me. Next round, we both got Ukraine, guessed in the similar area, and this round, I think party actually maybe had some loading issues or something with this round. Yeah, he had a black screen. Unfortunately, I had no way to know that, and I just immediately went for Costa Uruguay here. In the end, party did get the round to load. He got Uruguay, but I'm sure he could have had a better guess if it had loaded in. But in any case, we kept on going through the rounds. We had Latvia there. We had one where we both went for Belgium, but it was France. And then here is the critical round. This is one that I messed up. This is Canada, which I don't think I even went for. I was panicking out of my mind on this round. I had no idea what to do. Party had pretty quickly guessed in Saskatchewan. Now, apparently something here that's meta for Saskatchewan is this, like, white line in between the double yellows. I didn't know that was a Sask thing, but party clearly did because he guessed really fast here. In the end, I went for Illinois, and seeing the results there, I thought I was down and out, but I had 142 points left, surviving somehow. On to round number 7 here, which was Colombia from the foliage and the road. I went for East of Andes, and party just kind of hedged in the middle. That was close enough for him to be the winner, and he took home the dub 2-1 against me in the group stage. My final opponent in the group stage, of course, was Poly, where I was able to hold out for a little while on the moving games. We traded points for a bit, but in the end, we got this Mexico round that I just guessed terribly, and on 4x multipliers, that sealed my fate. Poly had a great guess in Chihuahua. I was way too far south. I'm actually going to open this up. I don't remember exactly what this round was. Oh, it's this round, yeah. So in hindsight, I probably should have gotten Chihuahua out of this, but yeah, Mexico's kind of tough sometimes, and props to Poly for getting this one spot on. Poly took home a clean win there against me in our moving game, and then in the no moving game, this is what happened. As you can see, it was a pretty short game. I messed up big time. We got Thailand, we both got Botswana, and then we had this round where I went for Turkey, but it was actually Spain, and party just hedged in Madrid there for the win. Yeah, in hindsight, I definitely shouldn't have missed this, but the pressure is unbelievable in these tournaments, so making some bad calls under the pressure, knowing that thousands of people are watching you play. And that was it. Poly went 2-0. With that, my group was actually very close. Poly and party actually ended up tying in terms of points at the top, and then Buzzy and I were tied in terms of points at the bottom. But of course, with the tiebreakers, I had beaten Buzzy, so that meant I was taking 3rd place and would move on. Buzzy in 4th place was eliminated from the qualifier at that point. It was very close, and it entirely came down to me beating Buzzy. If I had not done that, I would have been out at this point. Having gotten 3rd place in the group stage, I moved on to the knockout stage to face Emily, the 2nd place player from Group B. Emily is a really talented player, and so once again, I was almost convinced that this was the end of the road for me. GeoGuessr put out a poll on Twitter to see which of the knockout stage games they would broadcast. It was really close, but it ended up not being my game. I was secretly hoping my match wouldn't be voted because I thought I would crumble under the pressure knowing that I was being watched by everybody playing. But after my match versus Emily, which was one of the craziest, most close competitions in my career, I really wish that they showed it for you guys. Game number 1 was moving, which Emily is very strong at, and sure enough, I was out after 6 rounds. She just did really well against me, chipping away at my points here. I went for Hungary on Serbia, which was a big mistake. Indonesia Indonesia again, my Achilles heel, and then we got down to this Mexico round, which I was just doing terribly at Mexico during this entire tournament process. Emily had a great guess in Sinaloa, I was up in Tijuana. So that ended pretty poorly for the first moving game. Emily was up 1-0. On to the first no moving game, things were a little bit different here. As you can see, I ended the game with a nice guess in Spain, but it was a pretty close match. We both missed Illinois here, which was a great start for me. Another Hungary round came up this time. It was actually Hungary, and had a good guess in Australia, and yeah, just trading points back and forth until we got down to this Spain round where Emily went for Bulgaria. It was a pretty weird round, I'll show you guys here. Spain can be tough sometimes, so many different landscapes and areas within it, so I can definitely understand Emily cracking under the pressure going for Bulgaria here. This time I was able to get Spain, I didn't go Turkey on this one, and I was able to get the win against Emily, so it was now 1-1. Game 3, another moving game, was really close. This was an exciting match where Emily started out really strong. She nearly flawlessed me down to me with only 600 points. Again, Mexico really just destroyed me on round number 5 here. But I kept my head held high, kept on moving through here. I had a really nice guess in New Zealand where I was able to find the road, and I think Emily didn't move to the right signs. Round 7, from what I remember, lasted a long time. We were just in some residential area in South Africa with no information. Eventually we both just went for Joburg. It was round 8 that was the deciding round, which was a middle of nowhere Texas coast round where I think we both weren't really sure what was going on. We knew it was the plains. I don't think either of us expected it to be this far south. Again, let me open this one up and see what was actually happening here. Yeah, like, this is just a hard round. I'm not sure that I'm ever gonna go coastal Texas on this. But on this, after moving around, you just realize there's no information. I just plonked Oklahoma, and that worked out for the best. I was 2-1 against Emily. I was in a good spot here for Game 4. If I won, I would be 3-1, and that would be my best of 5 victory against Emily. However, we had another very, very close game. Emily started out, once again, by flawlessing me down into round 6. I was finally able to get some points on her with this Amman round, where I was just luckily a little bit closer, and then on this, Ecuador rounds. This was a round where we had a sign telling us about 2 cities that were nearby, and I was just able to get the better plonk. Let me show you guys here. Yeah, we had directions to Machala and all that. It was too little too late, though, as we moved into round 10, where once again we had Mexico, and I just completely messed up. I went for Ecuador. It was Mexico. Emily was not in the right part of Mexico, but that was enough anyway to destroy my health. With all of it done there, and Emily staying very much afloat, that was a really one-sided game for her, and it was now tied at 2-2 with NMPZ as the tiebreaker. This NMPZ game was probably the most intense game of GeoGuessr I've played in my entire career. The organizers were pretty impressed with how fast we were going, but I had a good reason for why. We started things out in Romania where I had a ridiculously lucky plonk here, getting within a few kilometers, which was an insane start. That was definitely a nice confidence booster, even if it was just pure luck. In round number 2, Emily had a fantastic guess on one of these Japanese islands, which I went for the south area. I think we had some tropical plants or something. Yeah, you can see some of those here. Emily had the vibes completely right here. That was really impressive from her, so a nice showing of points. Round 3 was just to Kenya. We both kind of clicked in the middle there. We had a Canada that we both messed up on. It was Manitoba. Emily was in Ontario. I'm in New Brunswick, so that was not good at all. Onto the multipliers is where I started to put a bit of pressure on. Emily was down to only 1,000 points after this guess, where I was in the Urals area of Russia, but she was in eastern Romania. I'm opening this one up again. I want to see exactly what was happening here. If I remember right, we were facing this way, and I don't think we could see the antenna. Maybe we could see like just the top bit of the antenna or something, but I don't think we could see the full car. In any case, again, I can see what she was thinking going for Romania here, but I was really proud of my Russia guess on this one. We had a couple more rounds to get through here where we both messed up on a Belgium round. She was in Czechia, I was in Slovenia. Then I had a nice guess in Kyrgyzstan where I was able to get the vibes of being by Issyk-Kul here, and I think she just went for Bishkek, but yeah, again, I was really happy calling out the vibes of this NMPZ Kyrgyzstan. After all that, we arrived at this, round number 8, where I had zero clue what was going on for the longest time. I was staring at this, every single leaf, every crack and bend in the road, just trying to think what the heck was happening. What you can tell for sure is it's going to be Europe with the types of trees and bushes we had here, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be Baltic, if it was going to be UK, if it was going to be Nordic or something. I had no idea. The one thing I was holding on to here was this wooden pole. You can barely see it through the bush there, but I know that the UK uses wooden poles a lot. Combined with the tall hedgerows on the side of the road, that's something you see there a lot. So in the end, I did decide to go for the UK, and that was the correct decision. Emily did go for the Baltics, which I was very seriously considering for a long time. She went for Latvia. By an incredible miracle, I was correct. I defeated Emily 3-2, and I was moving on to the final playoff stage of the qualifier. My opponent was Scry, who got first place in his group stage. He's another incredibly skilled player who's well known in the community for managing the Plonket Discord server and website. At this point, I had come way further than I ever expected to go, so I just went into it with my strongest confidence and fully accepted the likely reality that I'd lose. Our first game, the moving game, started out with a very long South Africa round where we were both just moving forever, trying to find any information, and once again, eventually, we just plonked in the Joburg area, and that was good enough. Round 2 was another extremely long game in Colombia, where we both were able to 5k. We didn't get exactly the right intersection. We were both like one street over, but we both 5k'd, and that was really nice. I had a Sri Lanka round where we both kind of hedged around there. Round number 4 was Finland. We just had similar guesses again. Moving into the multipliers, I had a better guess in Sweden than him, so I got a little bit of points on that. And then in Mexico, this time the tables turned from previous rounds where I was messing up Mexico. This time I had a decent guess where I went Mexico City. It was Guadalajara, and Scry was in Tijuana, just like I had done against Emily. The next round we had South Korea, where we did have a road sign here mentioning the city. It said Goyang City Hall on it, which I was able to find near Seoul. For that one, I think, unfortunately, Scry maybe didn't see the sign, or he just didn't know where to look, and he did not go by Seoul. I went for that, and that was enough points to take the first win. I was up 1-0. Going into game 2, I was feeling a lot better about this. The no-moving game started out pretty casually. We had Ecuador. I had a nice guess here in Chile. He was a bit farther north. I had an Austria round where I got it, but he was in Germany, so that cost him some points as well. We had this Norway round that was pretty evenly matched, but now I'm going to turn things over to GeoPeter, who's going to show you guys how I was able to win this game as well.
Find out what's been going on in our other matches. Peter.
Oh, it's been an interesting time here watching CG play Scripero. We have some clips for you, as always, so let's have a look at some of them. This was a very interesting round here in Australia. As you can see, Scripero going kind of somewhere in the like southern central Australia, but in a second we're gonna see CG with a very close guess.
CG's been playing amazing.
Yeah, CG has made some very impressive guesses in these games, and this next round, very good one as well. Sees the sign, zooms right in onto Edmonton, and after waiting for a little bit for the other player to make a guess, we're gonna see. Well, this was the no-moving game. This was the no-moving, I believe, or was this moving? Which one was this?
Oh my god.
Here we go.
CG.
CG right on
sees
the
sign
money.
and right on it.
Was this game 2?
This was the game 2, yes.
So CG's up 2-0 right now.
Let me explain this Canada guess and why I even knew what Parkland County was in the first place. So basically, in our community Discord server, I do a thing where I post a daily city every day. We finished up the US, and now I've been doing Canada for the last couple months, and in researching all the cities, I read about Parkland County. I knew that that was near Edmonton, so it was fresh in my mind, and when I saw that, I knew I had to immediately send it. I was absolutely over the moon at this point, just needing to win one more game out of 3 that were coming up, and I would have a spot in the World Cup. I couldn't believe that I was doing this. It was back to a moving game for our third one, and this time it was Scry who had a much more dominant performance. He started out very strongly here in Turkey, where I was on the European side for whatever reason. He was just getting points on me here for the first few rounds. I started to get some points on him here with this Australia round, where I saw the signs for Coffin Bay and was able to find it. We had South Australian polls in this round. Actually, let me just show you guys. So yeah, basically right from the starting point, you can see the Stobie poll for South Australia, and this is Coffin Bay, so I got to work scanning right away, and I was able to find it, and thankfully Scry did not get this one. I think in this game the pressure was starting to get to me because we got down to round number 10, where, as you can see, Scry got that it was Hawaii. I was in Florida, so that was disastrous. I lost 17,000 points, and Scry got his first win. I actually haven't looked at this location since the tournament. I don't remember if there were actually Hawaiian polls, or if I just completely tunnel visioned, or what happened. I guess there's maybe a little bit of yellow on there for the Hawaiian sticker, but yeah, not the most usual Hawaii. I guess the trees, like, those are kind of weird over there. I kind of just completely forgot Hawaii was a thing here. I just thought it looked like tropical America, so I was like, yeah, Florida for sure. That was a disaster. Scry got his first win though, so it was now 2-1. Game 4, our second no-moving game, was absolutely ridiculous. I had so much pressure on me. I knew that if I won this game, that would be it, and I was qualified for the cup. Started out strong here in New Zealand, where I was a little bit closer than him on the North Island. In the second round, he got some points on me where I went for Lithuania, but it was Latvia, so that was kind of bad. Went right back to getting points where I went for Texas. He was in Oklahoma. Round number 4, he got Slovakia, but I was in Bulgaria, which was correct. And this one I'm going to open up because I'm not sure what was really going on in this one. Here, I think he must have missed the tape antenna on the car, because that you won't really see in Slovakia as far as I know. Just like me missing the bars in the Dominican Republic, it is so easy to do that when the pressure is on, so I can't blame him at all for for missing this one. Then on round 5, we had a very easy Uganda, the Uganda car, you can't really miss. Then we went on to round number 6, where once again we were in Africa with quite simple car meta. We had a bunch of the Nigeria following, police cars behind us, and a visible car here as well. For me, this was easy Nigeria. We had mountains and a bit of a drier landscape, so I thought going up north close to Abuja or something would make sense. Honestly, I'm not sure at all what went wrong for Scry here in this round, but he ended up going for Kenya. When I saw this result, I could not believe it. I felt pretty bad winning on a round like that, but in the end, I had gone 3 for 1 against Scry and was moving on to the World Cup. I really wish that I was recording my reaction because I absolutely jumped out of my seat, was running around my room just like going crazy. I am still shocked that I was able to pull it off, and something that I really want to emphasize for you guys is that if we were to run the pre-quali and the quali back, same format, same players, same matchups and everything, I can almost guarantee you that it would be 4 different people qualified for the World Cup out of this. It was a stroke of luck with the locations that I got, the matchups that I had, the order that they were played in as well, that really all worked to my advantage. I was extremely lucky. Every single player in the pre-quali and the quali as well deserves this spot, and for me to have this is truly an honor, and I'm gonna fight my damn hardest in Stockholm next month. With all of that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this summary look at my experience in the qualifying stages. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did like it, and I will see you next time.